Hello, it's Reclusive Slowbro, and today I have a deck list for you for my Salamence Reshiram deck, or Reshiram Salamence, however you want to call it. It's not the most meta of decks. It's a fun deck though. It's a fun deck in my opinion anyway. But yeah, you're definitely not going to win that many games, or nor is it the most consistent at winning games. It's just fun, and you guys know me, I love playing fun decks. Alright, now let's get into the Pokemon. The first Pokemon we're going to be observing is Salamence. Now, it is a Stage 2 Pokemon that, well, depends on how fast or, I guess, how good you can get certain resources. It will depend on how quickly you would get this onto the field. So, you can either straight up just go Bagon, evolve into a Shogun the next turn, and then the next turn evolve into Salamence, or you can use Rare Candy. I'm pretty sure you're all aware of Rare Candy's effect. You go straight from a basic to your stage 2 with the stage 2 in your hand as well, of course. So, as you can see, that's pretty useful for this. Now, let's get into the attacks of Salamence. Shatter. Discard any stadium card in play. Does 60 damage. Thing is, you don't necessarily need a stadium in play to use this attack, but it will discard any stadium in play at all times, no matter what. It's just does that. So I guess be careful when you use your own stadium, because this deck does run stadiums. It runs 3 stadiums, namely Training Center, if I remember correctly. But we'll get to that in a bit. Now, Shatter, discard any stadium. Can be useful for things if people play decks that revolve solely around their own stadiums. Chances are you really want to put your own stadium down and rarely use Shatter as much as possible, honestly. Power Howl is the attack you're going to be using unless your opponent knows how to play around the amount of cards, in which case you're most likely going to be using Shatter then. So, Steam Blast, on the other hand, requires 3 energy discard, but for 170 damage. So you can see there's a big advantage to using Steam Blast, because it can knock out most, if not all, EXs, well, standard EXs. You can put a Muscle Band, of course. Muscle Band will assure you their defeat, or just taking them out in general. It won't exactly take out any megas with higher than 210 HP, of course. I'm not too sure if there even is a mega with 200 HP specifically. Anyway, that's irrelevant. So, Steam Blast, 170 damage, or 120 damage, or 200 damage with the Silver Bangle, and Muscle Band, of course. It's very useful against EXs. There's nothing else I can really say about that. You will, however, have to discard 3 energies, such as either, most likely, your Double Dragon and a Fire Energy, because you're only going to be running 4 Double Dragon and some Fire Energies. So, that wraps up Salamence's observation, and let's go into Hydreigon EX. Hydreigon EX is really only in this deck just to use his ability. You can use him on the rare occasions for attacks too, because his Shred really does help a lot. Especially paired with the Muscle Band, it's doing 100 damage, and most likely it will be one-shotting Safeguarders, but Safeguarders aren't going to be an issue since you're using non-EXs to attack anyway, so. This is good, just in case to have as an additional attacker if you can't, for some odd reason, get Salamence out to attack. Now, Reshiram you should probably never ever use to attack, honestly. I've never really used Reshiram to attack at any given instance for whatever reason, because, well, it requires a Double Dragon and I guess you could say 2 fires at once. So that uses kind of a lot of your own resources to... Chances are you're just not going to be attacking with Reshiram. It's as simple as that. So, yeah, there's that, of course, but it does use its ability, Turbo Blaze, which is the main reason why it's in here. So, once during your turn, if this Pokemon is in your active position, of course, it would be not in your bench anywhere. You cannot use this effect in the bench. You may attach 1 Fire Energy from your hand onto your Dragon Pokemon. Dragon Pokemon. Doesn't work on anything else but dragons. Keep that in mind. I kind of forgot that a long time ago, and I was like thinking about making a deck revolved around it, but no. It only works on dragons, so keep that in mind. Very useful. Just get it onto the bench, and then use Hydreigon's ability to give it a free retreat cost, and then switch right into Hydreigon or Salamence, whichever you're attacking with. Now, Shaman, this one's very self-explanatory. Setup. Obviously, you play it from your hand onto the bench, and you draw up to 6 cards. You don't draw 6 cards, you draw up to 6 cards. So if you have 1 card in your hand, you would draw 5 more cards until you have 6. As you can see, this is a very, very, very helpful staple these days in most decks. Unless you're playing like an ability canceling deck, but this isn't an ability canceling deck. So chances are you're going to be using Shaman's setup most of the time. Well, not most of the time, but the times when you can use it, obviously. It's very, very helpful. Now we have 1 computer search. Discard 2 energies from your hand. I mean, 2 cards in your hand. I don't know why I keep saying energies. Discard 2 cards from your hand to basically just grab any card from your deck. If they're not prized, of course, then yeah, you're good. So I guess you could say this is a staple, but fortunately this one's going out into rotation. Next rotation, it's going to be an expanded after that. Fortunately, unless they reprint it, but it's kind of unlikely. I want to say it's unlikely, but it is kind of likely too, so who knows. For now, it's going to be rotated out after, well, in about a month, right after Worlds. Then we have 2 rare candies. As I explained before, it makes your Pokemon, your basic Pokemon, evolve straight to a stage 2. So you can skip the shell gun portion of the evolution stage. Then next, we have 2 switches. Since pretty self-explanatory, just switch one of your active Pokemon to your bench Pokemon. Very, very helpful. And chances are you're going to be needing this sometimes if you're paralyzed or if your stadium is removed, because Hydreigon's ability actually does require you to have a stadium in play to actually have its ability, so most of the time you want to make sure you have these as well, just in case you don't have the stadiums. Just in case you shatter your own stadium, or if by any other means of removing the stadium, like Primal Groudon. Switches are going to be quite useful. So now we have 2 Trainer's Mill. Look at the top 4 cards of your deck and choose any one of the 4 that are trainers, and then shuffle your deck and so on and so forth. This one's really, really, really good. I don't necessarily run that many in my decks these days, but in this deck it's quite helpful because it helps getting out rare candy and such. Very, very helpful though, still. 4 Ultra Balls, self-explanatory. Discard 2 cards in your hand and grab a Pokemon from your deck. 4 VS Seeker. I used to run 3 VS Seeker in this, and honestly, I just grown accustomed to playing 4 VS Seekers, and I'll probably change most of my decks now to 4 VS Seekers. So yeah, you can basically just replace them with 4 VS Seekers if you'd like. 3 is still not bad, of course. Just 4 is my recommended amount now. 1 Colress. Basically just shuffle your hand into your deck and then draw the amount of cards for bench Pokemon on the field. Yours and your opponent's included. Alright, now 1 Lysander. That's pretty self-explanatory. Just switch one of your opponent's bench Pokemon into the active. That's for knocking out things like the EXs or like maybe Shaman you see on their bench. Or you can probably knock out like a Mewtwo and they have like a million energies on them because they want to take out your Salamence. Chances are you're going to be putting a lot of energy on this anyway, so things like Mewtwo's was it X-Ball? I forget. X-Ball and Yveltal's Evo Ball. It's going to be very dangerous against this. So this helps in case they're benching their Pokemon and charging them up there. Just knock them out. It's good. 4N. Both players shuffle their hands into their deck and draws the amount of prize cards that they have, respectively. Very, very helpful. 4 Sycamore. Discard your hand and draw 7 cards. Very, very good. A staple, of course. This, thankfully, is staying in the next rotation, and unfortunately is not. So, yeah. There's that. We're going to have to find a replacement for N sometime soon. And then we have 3 Training Center. So what this does is it allows our Stage 1 and Stage 2 Pokemon to increase their HP by 30. That's very, very helpful considering Salamence has 160 HP, which will bring it up to 190, which is even higher than that of any other EX, actually, well, any other basic EX. Aside from Wailord, I guess. Wailord is the exception. Now we have 3 Muscle Band, increase your attack by 20 points, see the Pokemon it's attached to. Then we have 2 Head Ringers, basically attach it to any of your Pokemon's EX Pokemon, and increase their attack cost by 1 colorless energy. So this helps for stalling, just in case your opponent doesn't already have an item attached to them. It's very helpful. 7 Fire Energy. I guess 7 Fire Energy is pretty good. It's more than enough, of course. You're going to need a lot of Fire Energy anyway to be putting onto these Pokemon. And 4 Double Dragon Energy. Now, unfortunately, you are susceptible to enhanced hammers and such, and that's the biggest downside to this, I guess you can say. Not the, I mean, I wouldn't say that's the downfall of it, but who knows. Just enhanced hammers are pretty popular, and just be careful with those. There's honestly nothing else I can say about those. It's without your power that you can stop people from using enhanced hammers unless you're playing Toad, but you're not. This is Salamence Reshiram. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this deck list, and maybe we'll see more of these in ranked. Who knows? But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this. Goodbye.